He destroyed the cover-up, exposing how the justice system allowed powerful figures to escape scrutiny for years. What was hidden in the Epstein files? Sexual assault allegations, high-profile names, and financial cover-ups, secrets buried for decades are finally coming to light. You're about to see it all unravel.
All right. Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, members of the committee. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to testify here in the Judiciary Committee. It's an honor to be here to discuss a case that is as serious as it is urgent, and that is the ongoing congressional inquiry into the Jeffrey Epstein case and the failures of the criminal justice system to hold powerful individuals accountable. I want to acknowledge that this committee has taken some significant steps to advance the discharge petition demanding that the administration release the files, and I want to bring some additional materials here today from the Oversight Committee on which I serve, because so many of the issues at play in this case are within the jurisdiction of the Judiciary Committee, including the miscarriage of justice that was conducted within the courts, the Department of Justice, law enforcement agencies that failed survivors for decades. So let me begin with this. This is not a partisan issue. Sexual violence is not a partisan issue. Justice for survivors is not a partisan issue. And the pursuit of truth, transparency, and accountability is not a partisan issue. It is essential to restoring trust in our institutions, especially when powerful individuals, whoever they are, have engaged in criminal misconduct and escaped scrutiny and prosecution. The Oversight Committee's work is focused on three central questions. What powerful individuals were engaged in criminal behavior? Why did the justice system repeatedly fail women and girls who were groomed, raped, trafficked, and abused? And were individuals with significant influence shielded from proper investigation and accountability? And how do we pursue justice today? Questions that are surely within the clear jurisdiction and interest of this committee. In recent weeks, pursuant to a subpoena, the Oversight Committee has received tens of thousands of documents from the Epstein estate, including more than 1,600 references to the current president. These include emails, correspondence, financial records, litigation documents, and statements attributed to Epstein himself. I want to be clear, these documents contain allegations including sworn statements that must be evaluated through a full, transparent, investigative lens and process. And this is precisely why releasing the full, unredacted Epstein files is essential, and why this public inquiry is also essential. Among the materials I will reference are a sexual assault case in which Donald Trump appears to have been subpoenaed, served, and deposed, sworn statements involving a then 16-year-old who was recruited at Mar-a-Lago, who alleged that she was groomed and assaulted by Epstein and others, including those with significant global influence, emails and correspondence in which Epstein states that Trump knew about the girls and that minors were being recruited from Mar-a-Lago, that Trump was present at Epstein's residence on numerous occasions, and that Epstein possessed photographs of Trump with young girls, and that Trump was, quote, the dog that hadn't barked, a phrase that Epstein used to suggest Trump's potential silence to police. The documents also reference financial transfers between Epstein and Trump, discussion of Trump's business affairs, and concerns about potential money laundering through real estate transactions, all matters that may or may not have criminal significance and clearly warrant investigation. Additionally, we have documents from the Epstein estate in which Epstein himself assessed that he faced a mandatory minimum of at least 10 years in prison, yet the Justice Department declined to prosecute him under federal law despite recommendations from his own line prosecutor. And these statements appear to directly conflict with sworn testimony that the Oversight Committee received from U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta just a few months ago, when he claimed that credible evidence to pursue federal charges was not there. Together, these materials are a substantial body of evidence, and it is evidence that the American people deserve and demand to see. Justice matters because those who abused, enabled, financed, and protected this criminal enterprise must face the truth and must face consequences. And transparency is essential for healing and restoring confidence in the rule of the law. And it is essential because Congress has a responsibility to ensure that our justice system protects victims, not perpetrators. And that includes strengthening victims' rights legislation that will likely move through this very committee. And so part of why I am here today is to advocate to please take the partisanship out of this case. Please address the facts as you see them before you. Please join us in this investigation, and please help us hold these people accountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Appreciate you sharing today.
What you just witnessed was an explosive testimony that shattered the facade of justice and exposed the deep rot within the U.S. criminal justice system. Representative Stansbury pulled back the curtain on the failures that have allowed powerful individuals to escape accountability for their actions, particularly in the case of Jeffrey Epstein. For too long, these figures have been shielded by institutions meant to uphold the law, but today, the truth is coming out slowly but surely. The facts are undeniable. Tens of thousands of documents from the Epstein estate have been subpoenaed, revealing disturbing allegations, financial records, and correspondence implicating some of the most influential people in the world. Among the documents, there are direct references to the current president, emails that hint at a connection between Donald Trump and Epstein's notorious activities. One chilling detail includes a reference to a 16-year-old girl recruited from Mar-a-Lago who alleges that she was groomed and assaulted by Epstein and others, including people with immense global power. This isn't just a conspiracy theory. It's evidence from the very heart of Epstein's operations. And yet, despite this mountain of documentation, justice remains elusive. But what does this tell us about the system that was supposed to protect us? For years, the government, led by people in positions of power, actively enabled Epstein's criminal enterprise. The documents even suggest that Trump was well aware of the abuse taking place at Mar-a-Lago. Epstein allegedly kept photographs of Trump with young girls, and at one point referred to Trump as the dog that hadn't barked, a suggestion that Trump might have remained silent, even to law enforcement. This isn't the kind of language we expect from a criminal mastermind. It's the kind of language we expect from someone who thinks they're untouchable. But here's the thing, no one is above the law. And yet the Justice Department declined to prosecute Epstein under federal law, despite knowing the gravity of his crimes. Even more shocking, a federal prosecutor, who was fully aware of the evidence, recommended charges, but those recommendations were ignored. Does this sound like a system that protects victims, or a system that protects perpetrators? The conflict is clear, and the consequences for the victims of Epstein's abuse are dire. How many victims were silenced, swept under the rug, because the system is more interested in preserving its own integrity than in seeking justice? These documents represent a betrayal of the people the justice system was meant to serve. But let's take a moment to step back. What's happening here goes far beyond one individual or even one case. This is a systemic issue. This is about a power structure that shields itself while throwing those who are vulnerable into the fire. This is about a government that values its own image over the suffering of real people. And when the justice system fails, the consequences ripple through society. The victims in this case, those girls, those survivors, have been abandoned. They were victims once, and they've been victimized again by a justice system that was supposed to protect them. As Representative Stansbury pointed out, this isn't a partisan issue. Sexual violence is not partisan. Justice for survivors is not partisan. The pursuit of truth, transparency, and accountability is what matters here. These are universal values that everyone, regardless of political affiliation, should stand behind. Yet, as we've seen today, some individuals in positions of power have chosen to sidestep these principles. Instead of honoring the truth, they've prioritized protecting themselves and their powerful allies. The evidence is clear. The powerful have been protecting the powerful. This moment is not just a wake-up call. It's a call to action. The American people deserve transparency. The survivors deserve justice. And the government must finally answer for the failures that have allowed abuse to persist for so long. The system may be broken, but it's not beyond repair. Congress has the power to make this right. They have the power to ensure that the victims of Epstein and others like him are not forgotten. And they have the power to restore the faith of the American people in a system that's supposed to serve us all. The truth is here, and it's time for the American people to demand accountability. This is the moment we need to stand up. No more silence, no more protecting the powerful. It's time for those who enabled Epstein's criminal behavior to face the consequences. And it's time for the system to deliver on the promise of justice. What happens next is in our hands. hands. We must hold our leaders accountable. We must demand that they release the full, unredacted Epstein files and that they investigate the full scope of the crimes that have been swept under the rug for far too long. The truth is out there. It's in those documents, and it's in the testimonies we're hearing today. But it won't matter unless we take action. We can't afford to let this moment pass by. The power structure that has shielded these criminals for so long is cracking. The truth is winning, but it's up to us to make sure it doesn't get buried again. Share this video, spread the word, and make your voice heard. We cannot, and we will not, stand idly by while the powerful protect each other. We need justice, we need accountability, and we need it now. Share this video, subscribe for more updates, and stay loud, because the truth cannot be silenced.